Hey everybody, what's up? It's Jay, and welcome back. We're going to be talking about the Blood of the Dead Easter egg ending today. I know it recently got solved, at least the Blood of the Dead Easter egg recently got solved. And we've got the ending now, so I'm just going to talk about that today because I was reading through forums, like on Reddit, and I was also looking at what people were saying on Twitter. And everyone's going crazy about it, so I thought, you know what, considering I've done a lot with the story in the past, obviously I've got my Ascent from Darkness and all the other videos before that, about the zombie story, I thought I'd kind of use that and then offer my 2 cents on what I think this ending means. And it isn't that hard to get your head around. I think a lot of people are kind of overthinking it. You just kind of have to look at it from quite a simple perspective. And that's what I'll be doing today. I'll be trying to explain this as simply as I can. And I've also made some like diagrams, and I've put some pictures. Well, I will put some pictures up on the screen, which hopefully will help you understand it. Like I said, it's not that difficult. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. So I think the best place to start is with the Richthofens, because obviously we've got 2 Richthofens, and I think that was kind of confusing people, so I'll talk about that first. So both the Richthofens are the exact same person. They're just from different points in time, obviously from different iterations of the cycle. The Richthofen wearing the armour and ancient battle dress is the Black Ops 3 Richthofen, also known as Primus Richthofen, and like I said, we'll call this Richthofen Primus Richthofen from now on. The Richthofen who dies is the Richthofen from the next turn of the cycle, if you will, and we'll call this Richthofen New Richthofen from now on. So, with regard to New Richthofen, we have only ever played as him on Blood of the Dead. Primus Richthofen, who we played as on Origins and all through the Black Ops 3 maps, is still alive, and as you saw, he left Alcatraz in the portals with this next iteration of Dempsey, Nikolai and Takeo, who I guess we'll call New Dempsey, New Nikolai and New Takeo from now on. So let's talk about all the stuff going on in the cutscene. How did all this happen? So, after Primus are sent back to the Great Battle by Dr. Monty in the Revelations ending cutscene, Primus Richthofen figures out the whole concept of the cycle and how Primus are trapped within it. So he then travels to Alcatraz in wait of the next cycle's iteration of Dempsey, Nikolai, Takeo and Richthofen, which, as I've just said, are the New Dempsey, New Nikolai, New Takeo and New Richthofen. They must come to Alcatraz from Zetsubo and Oshima to collect the blood vials, which is indirectly obviously what caused the cycle in the first place. Once they arrive and the events of Blood of the Dead take place, like we see in the ending cutscene, Primus Richthofen kills New Richthofen and smashes the blood vials, which breaks the cycle, because now Gorod's Krovi and Revelations will not take place, as New Richthofen will not be able to take New Dempsey, New Nikolai and New Takeo to Gorod's Krovi. This is also why New Nikolai says like who when Dr. Monty is mentioned, because he hasn't been to Gorod Krovi yet and thus hasn't encountered Dr. Monty. Because if you remember, it's only Richthofen who knows about Dr. Monty before Gorod Krovi. Dr. Monty then like talks to the other characters in Gorod Krovi, and that's how they're kind of introduced to him. And the Chronorium, which is almost like a book of destiny, has changed now, so their destiny has almost changed. That's kind of what it's implying. Now, Primus Richthofen must sacrifice New Richthofen because he is the one propelling the cycle to continue endlessly, despite being unaware that he's kind of responsible for this. Which is why Primus Richthofen kills him and smashes the blood vials to break the cycle. New Richthofen obviously is so upset by this because he can't understand why Primus Richthofen is destroying the blood vials and killing him. Remember, New Richthofen isn't aware about the cycle yet, so in his mind, collecting the blood vials is the crucial part of his ultimate plan to save the world from the Apothecans whilst remaining in existence. So that's more or less everything about the Richthofens. Like I said, it's nothing too hard to understand, you've just kind of got to get your head around the whole cycle idea, which was really kind of put forward to us in Black Ops 3 Zombies. So if you have an understanding of Black Ops 3 Zombies, it really helps to kind of get your head around what this cutscene means. As I said, it's not too difficult. If you kind of don't understand it at this point, maybe you should go back and watch like a Black Ops 3 Zombies storyline video. Obviously I've got my one, which is, I admit, it's 2.5 hours long, but I think it's a really good watch because I really do a good job, I think, without trying to show off or anything. I think I do a really good job of like explaining it. So yeah, that's more or less everything to do with the Richthofens. The other character who's mentioned in the cutscene is Dr. Monty, and we've talked about Dr. Monty before. He was quite a big part of the Black Ops 3 Zombies, like, towards the end. He was also in it before, but he wasn't really, like, a main stage character. He was more just at the back, and then in Gorod Krovi and Revelations, that's when he really started coming into it. So let's talk about Dr. Monty for a sec, because he is mentioned. So obviously during the cutscene, Primus Richthofen says that Dr. Monty needs to be defeated, which is because Dr. Monty is responsible for creating the cycle. Now, because of this, there has been widespread speculation that Dr. Monty is evil, and is actually allied to the Apothecans and the Shadow Man, almost like you will always be my brother kind of thing. Because if you remember back in the Black Ops 3 story, we learned that, you know, all those thousands and thousands of years ago, Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man were actually like best friends, and they weren't enemies or anything like that. But is Dr. Monty evil? I disagree, to be honest, because like I said back during my Black Ops 3 Zombie storyline video, I think Dr. Monty is neither good nor evil. He simply had a plan to create a perfect universe free from, obviously, Element 115 and Apothecan corruption. But this plan just so happened to collide with Primus's fate. They would not be able to exist in Dr. Monty's perfect world. Therefore, although you could see Dr. Monty as a bad guy if you're siding with Primus Richthofen, you could also see Primus Richthofen as the bad guy, because he's trying to break the cycle and therefore jeopardize Dr. Monty's perfect universe with the children and the house and everything else like that. So it all depends on how you look at it. Like, I really like what Treyarch are doing here. I think they're trying to show us that not everything is a simple black and white case of good versus evil, and that it's more of a grey area situation where anyone could be the bad guy or the good guy depending on how you look at it. So that's more or less everything with Dr. Monty. It's nothing too new. Like, I remember during Black Ops 3, we were having the same conversation, you know, people were saying, is Dr. Monty really a good guy? And what this cutscene has done, it's almost just like reignited that debate, you know, is Dr. Monty a good guy? Is he secretly evil, or is he secretly an Apothecan or anything like that? And like I said, I don't think he is personally. You might think otherwise, but I think it's almost like a neutral thing, like I said, a grey area, where he's got his own agenda, and it just so happens to collide with what our Primus characters want. So in conclusion, the biggest thing we learned from this cutscene is that the cycle is now broken. Nothing is certain anymore, and now anything could happen from here on out. However, given what Primus Richthofen says during the cutscene, I think it's likely that at some point during Black Ops 4's DLC season, we're going to be facing Dr. Monty as like an ultimate boss in one of the future DLC maps. You know, whether we defeat him or not, obviously no one knows. But given what Primus Richthofen says and kind of what has happened to the Primus characters, I think that is kind of what Treyarch are hinting at. That's kind of the direction they want to go in with the Ether storyline. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, the cycle's broken, we're in unknown waters, anything could happen next, and honestly, I fucking love that. I think it's brilliant. You know, someone on the Reddit forums, I forget who it was, but someone said it's almost like everything in Black Ops 3 Zombies is now subject to change, because the cycle's broken. You know, everything we worked towards in Black Ops 3, you know, going to all those different maps, collecting the souls, collecting the blood vials, and then finally, you know, defeating the Shadow Man and the Apothecans in Revelations, that's all now subject to change because the cycle's broken. There's no longer that security for Monty's perfect world. So yeah, that's more or less it. Like I said, hopefully that helped you. If you have any questions, obviously leave them down below, and I'll try to get back to you. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where we're at with Blood of the Dead now. I don't think the classified Easter egg has been solved as of now, as of me recording this. But I doubt, because it's the Ultimus characters, I doubt it's going to affect, probably not. Like I said, I don't think it would. But when the Easter egg is solved and we really kind of understand the whole, you know, where that whole story fits in with the Ultimus characters going to the Pentagon, I don't think it's going to have any effect on what our Primus characters are doing right now. Because it's almost like, I know they're both like in the same Ether storyline. It's almost like they're two different paths, isn't it? They're following two different, almost stories, if you will. Although obviously they are, like I said, they're both in the Ether storyline, so they are related. But I think if there is obviously there is going to be a, you know, a connection between the Ultimus and Primus characters. But I think that's going to happen later, like during the DLC season. I think that's when we'll really start to see those two storylines cross over. But yeah, so before I go on any longer, because this is almost 10 minutes, I think, I'll end it here. So like I said, if you do have questions, let me know and I'll get back to you. I'll answer them. I'll try my best to anyway. And yeah, so thanks for watching everyone, and peace out.